So I'd like to share a talk I had recently with a man named Shlomo about checking our intentions. Like, am I doing this because I want to have catharsis when it comes to expression, or am I doing this to serve? And sometimes it's a really important question, because whether it's what I'm doing, what I'm saying, do I just need to get it out? In which case I'm taking because someone else is holding space or carrying or resonating or understanding or, holding, or am I offering this? So it's a gift. I'm giving, right? It's very different when someone says, could you hold this for a little bit? Or could you listen for a little, versus sharing the thing you want to hear or giving the thing that you would need. And then the other thing I talked to him about was this light overflow, which is called riboy. It's like a too muchness. And this idea is that it breaks the vessel, because if there's too much light and it's emanating out like light, it cracks open the vessel. The idea is that it could either cause a breakthrough or a breakdown. It could crack open into, like, from a small vessel into a bigger vessel, or it could break down and then all the light is lost. So I want to give an example. Like, let's say this idea is that, let's say you have a small mind is overblown with the light, and the big mind energy can actually handle all the light, a bigger vessel, right? So mental vessel. So it's like a construct, a mental pattern. So there's an expectation in the small mind. It cannot receive that much light. It will break down. Rather, the idea is that we could think there's a bigger mind which can handle what's actually available. I thought of an example. Like, let's say a woman expects a man to buy her dinner. The whole night doesn't buy her dinner. Her small mind, it breaks open. She says, there's no way I could trust this man. He doesn't love me. He doesn't think I'm beautiful. Meanwhile, she did not notice that he specifically paid for somebody to sing a song that she liked while they were sitting there at the beach. She didn't even notice. Then he specifically bought rose petals, because she said it's her favorite flower, and set the way for them. She didn't even notice. She kept wondering, are we going to go to dinner? He's not asking me. She's ruminating on this. So it broke. The relationship broke because the vessel, the woman there, was too hyper-focused on this small expectation, versus if she would have been open and be available in a big mind to all his thoughtfulness, consideration, effort, care, the way he listened to what she likes, right? So much more. But there was too much light for the vessel in that. And she could only see small. So the vessel itself, we want to have a grand vessel for love, for ideas. Okay. In terms of my own vessel, I was thinking about a lot of things, and I realized, I remember my mother, so I was having a lot of awareness about things. First of all, I wouldn't be who I am without all the experiences I had that I went through, and I wouldn't be able to delete a part. It's a whole package. And it's almost like someone said, like the chicken or the egg. Let's say there's something forbidden to me now because of something I did in the past. But I would never have the offer now. I wouldn't be this person who could attract such an offer if I hadn't done that in the past, because I would only be who I am now with what this is. So if I'd go back and undo what made this forbidden, I would then be a different person now, and I wouldn't even have the offer. So it's interesting to think about that. Also, when, thinking about a vessel, so like taking in a man's energy, his lust, his desire, also takes in his other energies. It's not like being desirable, feeling beautiful. It's like basking in his light. It feels so nice to feel like a flower with the sunshine, and I'm so pretty, and he loves me, do anything for me, I'm so special. But rather, we have to remember, what if we're taking in his hell, his demons, his shame? Then I had some revelations about a man I was really involved with for many months, who I've shared in some of the videos. I realized that he had been talking to his therapist about me and saying bad things, so that his therapist would give him reasons why not to love me, why not to like me. And why did that bother me so much? Because my mother used to do that with my father. So I'm unlovable, I should be discarded, and this is what this man was doing. He, my mother didn't want to love me. She convinced my father I'm not lovable. That was the way she felt valid. So unfair, so painful, right? Really have compassion for myself. And then this man did that. And actually, it made it easier to leave. Because I was like, if he wants someone else to take responsibility, it's not attractive for a man. It's actually not respectable. Another thing I realized from somebody else's name is Shmuel. This man, may have only wanted the unhealed version of me, the one he could triangulate. this man Shmuel told me multiple people, besides the one I just mentioned, I was in that relationship where he was triangulating me. So in that connection. So this man Shmuel told me, like, a lot of people only want the unhealed version of you. They see you as useless, non-productive when they can't exploit you or bond with their full self. I was thinking a lot of my dad, and I was thinking of people who, like, they want me to be the patient, the compassionate one, the wise one, the understanding, the interesting one. Whoever they want me to be. If I'm not willing to people please, shapeshift, sabotage, or abandon myself, they don't want. So it's like it's very healing, actually, in a way, to just like see who doesn't want the healed version of you. And the divine, the next thing I want to share is that the divine, and somebody who, like, maybe, seeing in hindsight that they would never be able to make up what they did to me except with, like, their own self-sacrifice. Because literally when you give up your life for somebody, you're sacrificing your life. Nobody knows how long they're going to live for. And it says God only has the key to that. So, like, sacrificing, risking life force, energy, and time, and, like, cutting out other timelines, possibilities, and potentials for somebody who later on realizes that is the most precious thing, someone sharing their life with you. Remember I said small vessel versus big vessel? So a man could also have a very small vessel. It's not only the woman. It's the man also could have a very small vessel and feel like it should be exactly like this. And if it doesn't go this way, then he doesn't have capacity for a greater relationship with a higher ceiling. It's like he wanted that tiny relationship where on paper it looks exactly like this, like pinned, like a butterfly pinned into, you ever see those, like, beautiful butterflies in the museum, and they pinned it into the white background with the silk. Rather, a real living butterfly. And a man doesn't appreciate the life of the butterfly, right? He just wants to see something that's fixed in place. And it's sickening, actually. It's not attractive. So I realized also, like, that man, both sides also, I was thinking, like, on the one hand, I would not be able to, like, handle some of the things I dished out. Like, some of the ways that I treated him, I wouldn't be able to handle. Like, not necessarily to him. Let's say there's things I told him. I remember making a comment about his voice, about his eyes, and other times, like, and somebody said something to me today, and it was also about my appearance, and I felt so ashamed, like I want to hide, like I was just so ugly, such a freak. And thank God I dealt with other people afterward. And this person claims to love me and be attracted to me, but the comments they made, it also reminded me of another man in the past who did that, who then comes back to me, like, as if, even though I, like, cut off that relationship, I don't want anything to do with this person. A different person in the past who used to say really disparaging comments about my appearance and really try to shame me for things about how I look and physical body things. Now, I know when someone loves me, I felt it. It feels like they're just looking, like, with a soft gaze, like, you're so beautiful. And I think when I love someone, they're so beautiful, there's no flaws, everything. Only when you're, like, really hating someone do you want to scrutinize and find their flaws. It's a sickening thing to do. Because it's like you're finding what's wrong with somebody as a reason why you don't have to love them. Like, it's just excusing, like, a sickness, really, right? It's a bug. So when it came to, like, things that I did to somebody and what they did, and with these other people from the past, I was thinking of, like, ghosting, blocking, and things that I did in order to keep what I thought to keep myself safe, maybe. But when this person, like, did it to me, I felt like I could now see how challenging it is, that abruptness. It's one thing, we want to, like, have someone hold our hand, even if someone's not so healthy for us. It's easier to, like, slowly adjust to not have this comfort regular person in our life that we're used to. And I was also realizing, like, you know what? I've done this before and it's possible. Let's say I was thinking somebody's, like, the counterpart for me, the divine masculine. And it's not, I forgot that maybe because I'm a light, somebody got attracted in. It could have been, like, a creature you don't want that came to the light, right? Versus, like, the light being attracted to light. Could have been something that's attracted to light because it wants the light. It wants the light. So I thought it was divine masculine, but maybe it's not, right? A divine masculine wants to give. Healthy man wants to give. If a man is looking to take your light, even put out your light, God forbid, I feel it's able to extract the divine masculine counterpart projection that I put, take it back and own it and transfer it to somebody else more worthy who wants to actually be a proper host for it, like a actual man who wants to give. And thinking about, in hindsight, like, this man broke his word. He gave his word. What is it? I think a healthy man keeps his word. Sometimes he might not have money. Sometimes he might not have strength. But his word, he could always stand by his word. He told me he's never going to ghost me. He told me he won't give me silent treatment or ever block me without warning. And he'll communicate, he told me he'd work on his traits, his midos, all those things he didn't do. And I also remember a conversation I had with this man, the one that triangulated and lied and all these things, right? So I disclosed so much. Maybe I was desperate to be known. But anyway, I remember him telling him I'm worried that he's not bonding with his real self, which means he could just peel off the outside layer and continue on with his life. He's only bonding with the outside. So his inside, he has less skin in the game, right? He wasn't investing his real self. He only invested the outer layers that can be shed. And, I felt like I came up with the short stick, short end of the stick, or how they say, because of that. Because I was willing to risk. And I think a lot of it also comes from, why did I go through this process? There was a certain element of survival. So if in order to survive, I needed somebody maybe felt familiar, or somebody who needed me, somebody who was vulnerable. That's from the intuition of survival. And I needed somebody who was maybe desperate for the light. They would do anything for the light. So they'd, stick around even if I wasn't behaving. Now, let's say I had to face that back. Maybe I was now acting out, as if I was desperate, as if I was needed. Because he needed me so much, I had to act like the needy one. Because I've been thriving, thank God, since he's not been in my life. And then he gets to pretend he's the noble one who freed me, rather than him growing up and taking the invitation to rise up. So anyway, that intimacy energy of thriving. So the intuition of intimacy, the one that says you don't have to shrink or overgive. That's not what a partner is. Maybe my inner child said, be a good wife to him, because, this one you're able to trauma bond with. He's traumatized. You could heal him and you could help shape him. And I wouldn't recommend it. So, and finally, I'd say, a way to become immune to trauma bonding is to be healthy, to speak to myself with unconditional love. So maybe in some ways he didn't give me conditions to, let's say, my communications, but he didn't even listen to me. He didn't even read. He didn't even watch the videos. He didn't even care. He didn't care. He wasn't curious. Unconditional love is able to say, even when you're acting out, I still don't think less of you. That is the medicine a person told me on Friday. I have been transformed by that moment where a person said, I won't think anything less of you as you're lashing out. And he was encouraging me as I was fighting him off. And it all hit me. My heart opened so deeply when he disarmed my ego in that moment, that it is safe to be powerless, to not understand, to be not having slept enough, to have just gotten my period, to have been not eating, to have had a rodent in the kitchen, which is now, thank God, gone. Exterminator came. But all these things on top of each other, and a very distressing moment that happened the day before with my mother. This man was able to comfort me, support me. And I'm not saying he's my partner. I'm just saying that when I saw how a real man behaves, rather than run away or leave you to deal with it on your own, it was all gone. Any doubts I thought maybe this man that I had been bonding with, the previous one, it was my fault, or I was unlovable on any level, it all disappeared, thank God. So really speaking to ourselves with unconditional love, having people who speak to us with unconditional positive regard. You may not get unconditional love from another person, but someone who treats you with respect even when you're not easy to love. Somebody who sees through your fear and your coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms that are outdated because you're not still a child living in your father's home. Me, I'm not still a child living in my father's home. And that is all for today. All the best. Bye.